Welcome to Game Bird Spotlight, a product of the North American Game Bird Association. And I am very glad to talk with you tonight about a very serious consideration for our industry. We all know that we have been preparing for an avian influenza relapse over the last few years. In 2015 or so, we had a major problem in our industry, not our industry, but in chickens, turkeys, other poultry. And we managed to escape with no game bird associations or game bird farms affected. Well, we know now that game bird farms and other providers can be affected, and even hunt clubs can be affected. So at this point, what we know is the outbreaks are here, and they are increasing in Ohio, Minnesota, and you can look at the USDA maps of incidents across the United States and see where things are breaking out. In Ohio, we have had one large chicken laying farm that went down, and a lot of backyard farms. And okay, so while that may not prevent you as a pheasant or quail or other game bird producer from shipping your birds, it's still an indication that this is a very real problem and that this is not going away. The carriers that we have identified in the past are migratory fowl and non-domestic birds that carry avian influenza and can affect other premises, as well as rodents who can travel in between infected sites, and people helping to clean up can carry it. Machinery coming in between different farms can carry it, and insects can carry it. So we must keep a clean area inside of our barns and inside of our pens. So there has to be a line of demarcation that says this is where we keep this disease out of. Additionally, around our premises, around our barns, around our pens, we need to have buffer zones to allow folks to travel across, clean up, get ready to go into the clean area. So it is an area of, I guess, transition across those areas. All visitors, human and otherwise, must be excluded from our barns and pens. So in the past, in our last outbreak, we learned first that we need to close doors. We need to seal up entry areas for rodents. We need to make sure that our netting provides good borders, that we can increase the security of our area with signs, with fences, with gates, and disinfect ourselves in between different rooms. Now we're seeing an increase in the raptor population, such as hawks and owls, come down with avian influenza due to consumption of carrying waterfowl. We must realize that birds like vultures, oh, I have a nice glare, excuse me, let me rotate this. Our sun is setting and it's gorgeous outside and the sun is doing wonderful things. So vultures are coming into our areas and sitting on the pen poles. And of course, when they roost or they are sitting there, they're possibly pooping. There's no other way to put it. They're pooping in our pens, the dirty buzzards. So we need to exclude birds from our pens. So how do we do this? There are several websites that I'm going to give you. I am not endorsing them. I am just giving them to you for a possible, for you to possibly investigate. It is up to you. I am neither endorsing nor supporting those websites, but I will tell you what I've seen that has worked for us so far. One, these are from the Bird Be Gone website. There are streamers. They're a mylar, kind of what balloons, are made out of, that vinyl, shiny, flashy material. Those can be attached to posts at your pens, doorways to your barns, any place where you can hang it up and allow the wind to move it, and it will spook birds because they are disoriented by any light that's flashing like that. And I had pictures and I cannot get them to go on the screen, so my apologies. I would love to be able to do that, and I just haven't figured out the technology yet. Secondly, whirling flashers. They're a metal cup attached to a post, so there's 3 of them. They catch the wind. If you know what an anemometer is, that's what these are. They're a metal cup that will catch the wind, and it whirls and it makes a spinner. Because it's metal, it's shiny, and it will flash as it goes past. The sun catches it, and again, that is something that spooks the birds and keeps them away. We've tried them. Also lights. We have one producer, Oakwood, that produces a flashing light that primarily scares owls away at night. Well, there's other animal models, like an owl that has eyes that flash, or other types of birds or predators that would disorient birds and scare them off. Next, decoys. We had swan decoys that we bought, and we put them on our pond, and it has really reduced the number of ducks that land on our pond at this time of the year. If you will notice, beside the picture, there should be an area for comments. If one of you would test that out, make sure that I can see your comments. If you have products that you would like to discuss or anything, put a comment in there, and we will bring that information up. So one of you be brave, put a comment in the comment section, if you would. Next, noisemakers. There are sonic booms that will go off at regular intervals and scare ducks and geese away, or other birds that are nuisance birds, and try to scare them away. Years ago, somewhere around 2013, I visited a farm in Kansas that had an incredible number of starlings. So you look at the number of birds there are, and you think, what if they even ate 1 pound of feed a day? You're losing how many pounds of feed as these birds go into the pens, eat the food that's there, plus leave messes. So those are, something you definitely don't want. So what do we do with that? Well, by having noisemakers, sonic booms, cannons that will go off. We all know that noisemakers can come in 28 gauge and 16 gauge and 22 gauge, and will scare them off, but we also can use these other methods with that will repeat at intervals. One thing that we might think about are poisons. Now, poisons are federally regulated. You must have a permit, you must be licensed to use them, and you must have special training. Even though we may think, oh, just get these things out of here. That is something that is regulated. We cannot do that on our own, as much as we might want to. The last thing that I'm going to bring up is called, it's a light laser. There are several companies, and I'm going to give you a few websites now to investigate. One is called Laser Bird. One is called Wild Goose Chase and Agra Laser that have this product that you might investigate. There is a mounted one and there's a handheld one. If you find that your loss is great enough, it may be worth investigating having a product that is mounted, that's always going to be there and keep going. The last thing, there are tapes and spikes. We want to discourage birds from perching on our pens, and you've seen them in cities where there's a lot of pigeons, and these things sit on the ledges of the cities and they're spikes, and the birds obviously don't want to land on the spikes. With that, that's my list of possible things we can do to deter birds from our farms, and I have yet to get a comment, so I'm not sure if you're all hearing me well, but these are things that we can do. Now, according to my husband, we have seen a 75 to 80% reduction right now, just from the little bit that we've used with the tapes, with the birds with the glowing eyes, with the spinners. We have seen a marked reduction in the number of non-raised birds that are on our pens. With that, and with not having any comments or suggestions from our viewers, I'm going to call it a night and hope that this has been of use to you, and thank you for being with me this evening.